Imagine for a moment that there exists a higher power, a God who isn't just light, isn't just good, but who holds both creation and destruction within his very essence. A God who exists beyond the constraints of the narrow definitions we've been taught in church. What if I told you that this truth has been hidden from you, buried deep beneath the surface of religion for centuries? What if this God, this divine force, doesn't fit the neat, comforting box we've been told about? This is a shocking revelation, one that may change the way you view the universe, life, and the very nature of God. Stick with me, because what you're about to discover might be the key to understanding a truth the church has tried to suppress for millennia. For centuries, there's been a secret knowledge, a forgotten truth, that the church has worked tirelessly to bury. It's the story of Abraxas, an ancient and mysterious deity who defies everything we've been told about God. You see, in mainstream Christianity, we are taught about a singular, omnipotent God who represents all that is good, pure, and holy. But what if I told you that this version of God is just one side of the coin? The church, for reasons of control and unity, has presented only one narrative, and anything that deviates from that narrative has been branded as heresy. Abraxas represents something entirely different, something more complex, and something the church has been afraid of you discovering. The truth about Abraxas. Abraxas is not simply a figure of light or darkness. He embodies both, holding in his divine essence the full spectrum of existence. He is creation and destruction, good and evil, all coexisting in perfect harmony. This concept might seem alien to you, especially if you've grown up with the idea that God is a purely good, omnipotent being who rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked. But Abraxas presents a radically different worldview, one where duality and transcendence are key. Duality means that there is no singular truth, no simple right or wrong, no clear-cut division between good and bad. In this worldview, everything has its place in the grand design of the universe, even chaos, pain, and suffering. The ancient Gnostics, a group of spiritual seekers active from the 1st to the 4th centuries AD, were the primary custodians of this understanding. They didn't see the world in black and white. To them, the material world wasn't created by a perfect, all-powerful God, but by a lesser deity, the demiurge. The demiurge was a flawed god who believed himself to be the supreme creator, but in truth, he was nothing more than a self-declared ruler of an imperfect material world. The Gnostics believed that true spiritual knowledge, or gnosis, was the key to escaping this illusion and reconnecting with the divine truth beyond the physical realm. Abraxas, as they saw it, was closer to this higher divine truth than the demiurge ever could be. The church's rejection of gnosis. The church, however, could not tolerate this concept. At the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, the early Christian leaders came together to solidify the official doctrine of the church. Their goal was to unify believers under a single orthodox belief system. But this meant rejecting anything that didn't fit into the tidy narrative they were building. The Gnostics, with their radical ideas about God, the universe, and salvation, were labeled as heretics, and the concept of Abraxas was all but erased from history. For centuries, these Gnostic ideas lay dormant, buried beneath layers of religious dogma and institutional control. But they didn't disappear completely. The ideas of Abraxas and the Gnostics found their way into the shadows, where they continued to inspire those who sought deeper spiritual knowledge. These teachings suggested that salvation wasn't about choosing sides in a battle of good versus evil. It was about understanding the full picture, embracing both light and dark, creation and destruction. It was about transcending the dualities of existence and seeing the world for what it truly is, complex, mysterious, and ultimately divine. Gnosis, the path to spiritual freedom. In Gnostic thought, salvation wasn't something that could be earned through obedience to religious laws or rituals. It wasn't about waiting for a reward in the afterlife or avoiding punishment in hell. True salvation, according to the Gnostics, came from gnosis, an inner mystical knowledge that could only be found through direct personal experience. This knowledge wasn't something that could be taught by priests or obtained through scriptures. It was an awakening of the soul, a realization that each individual carried within them a divine spark, a piece of the greater cosmic truth. The Gnostics saw the material world as an illusion, a veil placed over our perception by the demiurge to keep us trapped in a cycle of suffering and ignorance. This veil wasn't just a physical barrier. It was a mental and spiritual construct, shaping how people saw themselves and their reality. Through everyday struggles and distractions, the demiurge kept humanity bound, reinforcing a worldview that kept them fixated on the superficial and limited to the physical. However, the real, eternal truth was beyond this world, beyond the reach of the demiurge's control. Abraxas represented that higher truth, a force that transcended the limitations of the material realm. Unlike the traditional god, who could be confined by notions of good or evil, Abraxas embodied the entirety of existence, embracing duality as a complete, harmonious whole. He was a symbol of spiritual freedom, freedom from the illusions of the world, freedom from the false narratives of good and evil, freedom to seek the divine within. For the Gnostics, this search for inner truth was more than a spiritual journey. It was a rebellion against the forces that sought to confine them to a lesser understanding of themselves and the universe. To them, reaching gnosis was akin to breaking free from chains, awakening to a reality far grander and more interconnected than they had ever imagined. This path was challenging, requiring the courage to question established beliefs, to explore the depths of the soul, and to face the unknown. But it was a journey worth taking, as it offered the ultimate liberation, freedom from ignorance, fear, and the limitations imposed by the material world. In the Gnostic view, this awakening wasn't an escape from reality, but a means of transcending it. Through gnosis, they believed one could come to see the universe as it truly is, a magnificent, interwoven tapestry of creation and destruction, light and dark, all held within the divine essence. To attain this level of understanding was to see the hidden connections between all things, to recognize one's own divine spark, and to rise above the illusions crafted by the demiurge. It was a journey not just of faith, but of profound inner realization and boundless freedom. And if you're ready to experience an awakening and free in your financial life, a transformation that some say has already changed millions of lives in the spiritual community, check out the link in the comments below. Discover the shocking wealth secrets revealed by a rogue NASA scientist, secrets that are going viral for a reason. Many have reported experiencing incredible, effortless shifts in their financial journey, and it could be the next big step in yours. Now let's dive back into our exploration. The Church's fear of Gnostic teachings. The Church could not afford to let these ideas take root. Gnosticism offered a path to spiritual freedom that didn't rely on institutional authority. It suggested that individuals could connect with the divine on their own, without the need for a priest or a church to mediate their relationship with God. This idea was a direct threat to the Church's power. If people could find spiritual truth within themselves, then they wouldn't need the Church to guide them, to control them, or to determine what was right or wrong. This was something the early Church could not tolerate. To maintain control, the Church branded Gnostic teachings as heresy and actively worked to suppress them. The Gnostics were persecuted, their texts were destroyed, and their beliefs were outlawed. For centuries, the wisdom of the Gnostics lay hidden, that the light of their knowledge was never completely extinguished. In 1945, the discovery of the Nag Hammadi library brought some of these lost texts back into the light, revealing the true depth of Gnostic wisdom that had been suppressed for so long. Abraxas, a god beyond good and evil. What makes Abraxas so revolutionary is that he does not conform to our conventional understanding of God. In traditional religions, God is often portrayed as purely good, an all-knowing, all-powerful being who rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked. But Abraxas embodies both good and evil, creation and destruction, life and death. He is not confined to our human concepts of duality. He transcends them. In Gnostic teachings, Abraxas is not a being who demands blind obedience or punishes those who stray from the prescribed path. Instead, he represents the fullness of life, the understanding that every part of existence, even the struggles and suffering, has meaning. In the Gnostic worldview, salvation is not about choosing the good side or avoiding the bad. It is about understanding the full picture of existence, embracing both sides of the coin, and seeing the divine in everything. The message of inner freedom. Abraxas, as a symbol of transcendence, teaches us that true spiritual freedom comes not from following rules or adhering to a set of beliefs imposed by an external authority. It comes from within. It is about discovering your own path, seeking your own truth, and breaking free from the illusion of duality that has been imposed upon us by society, religion, and culture. In a world that often pressures us to fit into neat boxes, Abraxas offers a path to inner freedom. Freedom to explore, to question, and to embrace the full spectrum of existence. The Gnostics understood that the journey to enlightenment was not easy. It required courage to question everything you had been taught, to break free from the fear and judgment that surrounded you, and to seek knowledge that transcended the conventional wisdom of the time. But in doing so, they believed you could reach a place of true understanding, a place where you could see beyond the surface of things and awaken to the divine spark within you. The reemergence of Gnostic wisdom. Despite centuries of suppression, the light of Gnostic wisdom continues to reemerge. In recent years, more and more people are beginning to question the traditional narratives of religion and spirituality. The ideas of Abraxas and the Gnostics are being rediscovered, and their message of inner freedom and transcendence is resonating with people in ways it never has before. The truth that the Church tried to suppress is coming back to life, and it's challenging the way we think about God, salvation, and the purpose of life. This reemergence of Gnostic thought is not just about resurrecting ancient teachings. It's about reclaiming our right to question, to explore, and to discover our own path to enlightenment. It's about breaking free from the idea that there is only one right answer, one prescribed path, and opening ourselves up to the possibility that the divine exists in many forms, beyond the limitations of good and evil. In conclusion, the story of Abraxas is a story of liberation, a reminder that we are not bound by the dualities of light and darkness, good and evil, creation and destruction. We are free to explore the mysteries of the universe, to seek our own path to enlightenment, and to understand the deeper truths that lie beyond the surface. The Church may have tried to suppress these teachings, but the light of Gnostic wisdom will not be extinguished. It's time to embrace a more holistic view of the divine, one that sees the unity in all things and acknowledges that true spiritual freedom comes from within. The teachings of Abraxas challenge us to go beyond surface-level beliefs, to look deeper into the nature of existence itself, and to honor both the light and dark aspects within and around us. This journey of inner freedom is about transcending fear, embracing our complexity, and finding strength in the wholeness of who we are. When we understand that the divine encompasses all things, we begin to see that our lives are woven into a larger, universal truth, one that invites us to connect, question, and grow. So, the next time you find yourself questioning the nature of God, the universe, or your place in it, remember this. The truth is not as simple as good versus evil. It's far more complex, far more beautiful, and it's waiting for you to discover it. Don't be afraid to seek the knowledge that has been hidden from you. The divine truth is waiting for you to awaken, to reconnect with your inner light, and to understand the vast mysteries of existence. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the wisdom of Abraxas and the ancient Gnostics. If you found this exploration enlightening, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content that dives into the hidden and profound aspects of spirituality. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you, or what new questions did this raise? Share your reflections in the comments below, And if this message spoke to you, consider sharing it with others who may be on a similar path of discovery. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and remember that the divine truth is within reach, waiting for you to awaken.